I turn on my customer service voice. Hi, welcome. How's it going? I just feel like it's not very genuine. If I ever helped you customer service wise and you got that voice, well, I'm sorry. Welcome back, everyone. I appreciate you tuning in again this week for another themed makeup look. If you subscribed last week or you watched the video, if you shared with anyone, know from the bottom of my heart that I really appreciate it. This is terrifying, being able to put myself out there and start to kind of experiment with what I can do socially. It's been a lot of fun. Today I'm actually doing a theme based off of these little beauties. That's right, it's not underwear, it's masks. When all of this started, you would say Josh and I went a little overboard when it comes to the mask purchasing, but we figured we're gonna probably be in this situation for a long time, so might as well be able to accessorize with multiple outfits, multiple makeup looks, different moods, and so here we are. So many different ones. I've got like a bunch of the Disney ones, so we've got like Baby Yoda, which is adorable, Pixar, R2-D2. My first mask that I actually got was from my friend Tammy in Vegas, and she made them. It's a cute little Captain Marvel one. I love it. Also ordered like a plain black. I've got an Adidas one that's really good for like walking or running around. Got them. Got Avalanche. Also got just like a cute little rainbow vibe. This is actually from someone I follow on Instagram called Saturday Morning Horrors. He did like a bunch of neck gaiters, and this is from the movie The Strangers, which is one of my favorites. And then Josh has a scooter, so this will be good in the future because he can use it then. But the look that we're accessorizing to today is actually for my Haunted Mansion mask. This is from an artist named Topher Adam. He goes by IMAFOOLISHMORTAL on Instagram. And he has a bunch of different designs. Josh got one that's the shining carpet, and I obviously got the Haunted Mansion wallpaper. And it's also really well made. It has like a room for the filter on the inside. You can replace that. And it also has like the little bungees on the side so you can adjust it to your face. Obviously this is pretty big on me, but that's what I found with most masks. And I don't know about anybody else, but if you discovered that your face is not considered adult size, like most of the masks we've gotten have been okay. But there's been like 5 or 6 where I put it on and it's just gigantic. Fit Josh fine, but for me it'll be too big. So I'll definitely be wearing that one to the theme park whenever it decides to reopen. I'm cool with it being a while if it has to be because I want everybody to be safe. But I digress. If you're interested in seeing how I put together this look that complements my Haunted Mansion wallpaper mask, just keep watching. And now here's Kimmy with no makeup on. Make sure I'm in frame. Keeping that in. Do you ever have like a really dope weekend? Like you're feeling positive, things are looking up, and then Monday just takes a giant just like turn. You get some real bad news. I feel like it's just this year in general, but what can you do? Keep on keeping on, right? All right, so let's do this. I want to do kind of a teal eggshell blue kind of color. Will kind of complement the purple in the mask. If you've ever seen like the Hitchhiking Ghost or the Hatbox Ghost, or really a lot of the ghosts throughout the Haunted Mansion, especially when it's translated into artwork, they kind of have that eggshell like teal ghostly color. First thing I'm going to do is go in and prime my eyes. Today I'm going to actually use the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow primer. I'm using a lot of Anastasia today. Obviously it's not sponsored because I'm very new. I like it because it cancels out a lot of the veins that I have in my eyes, so I don't really have to do like a concealer or a base first. Today, since I'm going to be doing a little bit more of a pastel look, I'm actually going to kind of build that pastel look in a couple of different ways, just because sometimes pastel colors can look super flat because they're usually on the matte side. So I'm actually going to go in with these. I just got them a couple weeks ago. They're from LA Girl. This is a really cool color, and this is kind of exactly what I had in mind as far as the tone. So I'm going to lay this down first, and I'm not going to be super precise about it. I'm just going to start at my lash line and apply it all over. Biggest thing is I do kind of want to keep a little bit more of a round shape to the color placement. I'm going to go in with a little smudger brush. This is from Sephora. It's their Pro Smoky Shadow Brush, and I'm just going to start to buff that out. Haunted Mansion's actually coming up on its 51st anniversary next week, actually. It'll be August 9th. It opened August 9th, 1969. I'm going to go in with Anastasia Pro Pigment Palette Volume 3, the shade B2, just applying it right on top. Basically, I've got kind of the shape that I want. It doesn't go too high up. It's got a little bit of a roundness to it, but it's still complementing my eye shape. I'm going to go in with the little pencil brush from that Mario collection. He refers to it as his detail brush. And I'm going to go in with C2 in that same palette. And I'm just going to kind of focus that on the outer edge, just layering a couple of more colors than just a flat blue. And I'm applying it in that outer V and just kind of slowly building it in towards the center of the lash line and up into the crease. Right, so that's about the level that I want it. Now I'm going to go in with another AVH Mini Pro Pigment palette. This is the Volume 2. And I'm going to pick up the shade C2. But it is pretty green. It's like a greenish yellow shimmer. I'm going to apply that kind of right on top. Once again, just for a little bit more dimension. But I'm just going to kind of place it right on the center of the eye. Fine with the Nordina shimmers that the finger does the job that I want it to do. I'm just going to go in and kind of buff out those edges. Alright, I'm going to go back in with that same little pencil smudger brush, a little more of the green color, and just apply that along my lower lash line. And then I'm going to buff out that edge with just a little bit of that same light blue on that first brush. I'm going to use this mascara today from Marc Jacobs, the Velvet Noir Major Volume Mascara. You noticed I pronounced mascara wrong, or weird. Mascara. Anyways. So I've got the mascara on, and then now to finish up the look, what I wanted to do is kind of go in with another complementary color. It's another one of the LA Girl neon ones. It's just their purple one. And I'm actually just going to line my lower waterline. Now I'm going to go in and do my eyebrows. It's my least favorite part of my makeup routine. I use the Benefit Brow Styler. One side is actually a powder and one side is like a little definer pencil. Yeah, shake it up. And then basically you twist off the edge. And you do tap off any excess. And then you just kind of go in and fill your brows. I like using a powder on myself because I feel like it just gives a softer look. I've already got pretty tiny features, so if I go in with like a really intense brow, then it starts to just take over my entire face. So I've always kind of kept it pretty natural with my brows. When it comes to my base, especially when I'm wearing a mask, I have been torn with the idea of whether or not I want to wear actual foundation, and I'm kind of just not feeling it. We already sweat enough as it is underneath the mask. I just don't want to have to worry about my foundation moving. My foundation is pretty long wearing. It's the Stay Naked foundation from Urban Decay, and I found that that one really does stay in place for me. But I also don't want to keep anything too heavy on my skin. Essentially today, long story short, what I'm going to do is basically a little bit of under eye concealer on my forehead, and then maybe spot conceal a little bit. If I have a little bit of redness going on, I feel like it's okay. For that case, I'm actually going to use concealers that are pretty close to my skin tone. My main concealer I'm using is a little lighter, but it's not too crazy or noticeable. I'm actually going to go in with a color corrector first. This is from Lancome. It's their Tiny Doll Ultra Wear Camouflage. And I use, this is like super full coverage, so the tiniest amount, like a little pin size. I go in with my flat concealer brush, and I focus this portion under my eyes, and I apply it just essentially where I have the darkness. I have my eyes, as I'm starting to get older, have like starting to sink in, I guess, a little bit more. So that's great. But I suffer from allergies. Sleeping isn't great lately. So I just kind of want to counteract that pigmentation. And if I were to go in with a bright concealer right on top first, a lot of times it still shows through. And then I just kind of let that hang out for a minute and kind of marry with my skin before I completely blend it out. Another place that I color correct is this lovely vein that has started to develop where it shows through. It's showing itself. Apparently that's another common thing. As you get older, your veins like to come forward. So everything's great and fine over here. And with that one, I just kind of like to tap it out with my finger just to soften the line, but I don't want to take away too much product, because if I put concealer on it and I like buff it all out, then you're essentially moving what you just color corrected. So I feel like that's all we're all color correct. Now I'm going to go in with my actual concealer, and the one I'm going to use is the Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer in the shade number 2. This one is actually pretty dry for me. I would say more truly on the combination side. I definitely get oil production in my T-zone, but under eye for me has always been a struggle point. I do drink a lot of water. I kind of sleep, but I also like alcohol. So that's probably why my under eyes are dry. Who knows? I'll do a little bit of buffing just to kind of get it in place. Then I start to let that kind of sit on the skin. And so while I'm doing that, I'll actually blend out my forehead. And my forehead, I'm going to put a little bit more on. That's going to be the main part of my face that's exposed for the day. And I'm just buffing it out with a foundation brush, just kind of pressing it into the skin as much as possible. I think that's the nicest thing with at least a lot of the trends that I've seen right now. I think it all started with that show Euphoria. They actually had super crazy, colorful, elaborate looks that were so cool. A lot of them in the show had just really like bare skin or really dewy, like fresh skin. Don't get me wrong, I love a full coverage look, but I feel like it's a good nod and a kind of mixture to different generations to have a really bold, colorful statement and then still have your skin showing through. So I think that's why it's a little bit easier for me to be like, yeah, if I have a pimple that's showing, cool. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm out and about. Like, you can see my pimples. With my concealer brush, and without picking up any extra product, I'm just kind of dragging that down to the side of my nose because I obviously had a little pimple there. And then I'm no excess product because, like I said, I'm drier and I have smile lines, so I don't take any, pick up any extra product, but then I slowly start to kind of blend that portion of my eye and along my temple. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit more product. I put it on the back of my hand, so just like a tiny dab. And I'm going to go over just the areas where I have a little bit of blemishes. They'll all be hidden by the mask. At least it's not like full coverage foundation just kind of sitting there. And then I'm going to take that same foundation brush to blend just the lower edges of that concealer and blend it down. All right, cool. So that's honestly where I would finish with the coverage. You can still see a lot of my redness, but I feel like it's a little bit more subdued, but it's not to the point where something is not like I don't have just like the triangles sitting under my eyes. I feel like it's a little bit more seamless, especially in like the natural light. My skin looks like it's just normal, which is a lot of times a blotchiness. So now I'm going to go in and set it with a translucent powder, and I just push it into the skin. I'm not like going in crazy. Same thing with under eye. I just kind of press it and roll it under eye. I'm just going to take the rest of the powder from this and just kind of buff the rest of my face. One, to take away shine, and also just kind of smooth everything out and at least give the same texture all over. So last step I'm going to do is just a little bit of bronzer on my forehead. I'm going to go in with my very loved Hoola Benefit by Benefit bronzer and just the bronzer brush from that same collection. And I'm just going to apply it along my upper hairline and on the tops of my cheeks. All right, so yeah, I feel like that's the look for today. Like I said, keeping the complexion as simple as possible, but giving a nice little statement with my eye. So while I'm wearing the mask for most of the day, you'll be able to see that accessorized vibe. But then when I take it off, it's not going to be a crazy hot mess. If I know me, I would be that person that would be at the theme park, that would go to eat, and then all of a sudden my lipstick and my foundation and everything is all over my face and nobody would tell me. But yeah, I really appreciate you following along with this. Yeah, we'll see what happens next week. Let me know if you have any ideas or theme suggestions. But y'all are the best. Appreciate it.